Good evening, everyone. Hopefully, you're having the best day you can possibly have, given that today's September 11th. It's been 24 years already, been 24 years. That big question, like they used to ask during or right after the JFK assassination, where were you when that happened? And the question was posed to me today, as it is pretty much every year. That always comes up. I think that's a very common question that's asked. But I was a junior in high school when that happened. And our school had graduating qualifying exams that day, which I passed the year before, so I slept in. And yeah, my parents woke me up saying that one of the World Trade Centers was hit, and I got up and watched the rest of it unfold on TV. They locked down my school, so I couldn't go back to school for the day. And that's basically that. I met up with a couple of friends of mine at Denny's for lunch who also decided to stay home because they passed the exam too. So, but anyway, that's about all that's going on in social media today. It's 9/11, lots and lots of 9/11 stuff happening. So not really much as far as news goes, current events, swamp news, not really a whole lot. Some military pictures, just kind of some everyday stuff going on. But for the most part, it's 9/11 memorial and just remembering what happened that day, remembering the victims and everything. And of course, they were doing like marches and events. And President Trump, he's going to the Yankees game. Actually, I think he's there right now. So, yeah, so I decided not to really comb through everything today because there's just not much happening, to be honest. I mean, I'm sure the government's still in motion. I'm sure things are still going on, but maybe I'll have better luck tomorrow. Almost as much stuff as September 11th. Outside of the government sphere, it's still pretty red hot as far as Charlie Kirk goes, his assassination. That is all that everybody's talking about. The 9/11 memorial, even though it's front and center as far as the government's concerned, it's taken a pretty distant backseat with regard to the events that are going on as far as Charlie goes. So first, I asked this just a couple of minutes ago, if the shooter has been identified, and the answer as of 7:26 p.m. Eastern time, the shooter has not been identified yet. And the FBI released images, which I'll show here in a minute, of a person of interest, and they're offering a $100,000 reward. There has been someone, and offhand, I can't remember his name, but I have his post saved, and I'll get into that here in just a minute as well. He's offering an extra $25,000 on top of the $100,000 reward. It's somebody working in government. I think it's one of Trump's advisors, if I'm not mistaken. So, and he's encouraging anybody else who has the means, the funds, the disposable income that you're willing to part with to make that reward larger, because he says that the $100,000 reward should be much larger than that. So maybe that might hopefully incentivize somebody to turn him in, because I mean, if he's truly on the left, they tend to get overly emotional with literally everything. So I mean, I can't imagine this secret staying a secret for very long, if you know what I mean. So I'm sure once that number gets up high enough, if the FBI doesn't identify him in the meantime, it wouldn't surprise me if somebody ends up blowing the whistle on this asshole. So let's see. So where should I go from here? I guess I'll just start with the list. And this came out about 5 hours ago. And I just happened to be on lunch break when this dropped. And I was scrolling through, and it just popped up on my feed. The post at the time was only like 20 seconds old, and I was lucky enough to be one of the first to comment, which I don't really care. I don't care if I'm the first or not. I mean, that doesn't even really matter. But yeah, this was posted today on Charlie Kirk's X profile, and I figured I'd go ahead and read this here. Let me see if I can bring this up. Maximizing it usually doesn't do any good, but yeah, so that doesn't really do a whole lot. But anyway, I'll go ahead and read this. So this is a message from Turning Point USA, which is the organization that Charlie Kirk founded back when he was, 18 years old, 18 or 19 years old, when he first founded it. And it's become quite a political force, needless to say. And this is what it says. Every one of us at Turning Point USA is crushed and devastated by the hateful murder of our founder and guiding light, Charlie Kirk. All of us have lost a leader, a mentor, and a friend. Above all, our hearts are with Erica and their two children. Charlie was the ideal husband and the perfect father. Above all else, we ask you to pray for the Kirks after the incomprehensible loss they have suffered. More than anyone, Charlie believed in the power of argument and good faith debate to find the truth and guide people towards, if not agreement, then at least mutual understanding. Charlie was no stranger to threats. He received thousands throughout his life, but he always prioritized reaching as many young Americans as possible over his own personal safety. Now Charlie has become America's greatest martyr to the freedom of speech he so adored. In his 31 years, Charlie lived more than any of us will in 100. He had an overwhelming passion for life and a deep belief in his power as an individual to make a difference. With the spirit of a pioneer, Charlie launched Turning Point out of his parents' garage as an 18-year-old with no money, no name recognition, only a dream. His energy and drive were awe-inspiring, without equal, and deeply infectious. Charlie refused to squander a single day of his life. He was a natural builder and problem solver who loved a challenge and saw every setback as a chance to learn, grow, pray, and try again. He was fundamentally decent, always eager to make new friends and allies, and to support and defend the ones he had already made. His values were timeless American ones: honesty, forthrightness, duty, loyalty, and fair play. So it's a very thought out statement. Yeah, very, very deep, emotional, heartbreaking to say the least. So, and that's the most recent. I'm not sure if there's anything that's going to be updated on that as far as on his profile. I would think probably not, but I don't know. I'll probably check up on it maybe in a day or two. I'm not so sure, but anyway, I'll just move on to the next. I'm just going to go through everything that's been going on today. And as early as last night, as usual, everything that I cover on each episode, it's less than 24 hours old. So this came out about an hour ago from Nick Sordor. Breaking: federal authorities believe they have identified the name of the person of interest who killed Charlie Kirk in Utah yesterday, per CBS. Let's hope so. The suspect is no suspect is in custody, and no warrant has been issued. Keep sending in tips. 1-800-CALL-FBI. There's also a link if you just so happen to have been there, or if you live in the vicinity and you've got like a doorbell camera that captured anything or anything like that, maybe a dash cam you were driving by or something, and you happen to have seen somebody who looks like this dude, then yeah, there's a link that you can send it, and it's right here. It's fbi.gov/Utah Valley shooting. And they take picture uploads, they take video uploads. Anything you can send to them digitally, you can send it to that website. And actually, I'll go ahead and link that. And it'll be in the description if you need it. And so the next one, FBI Salt Lake City from 7 hours ago. We are asking for the public's help identifying this person of interest in connection with the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University. 1-800-CALL-FBI. Digital media tips, of course. And this is from Steven Crowder. This was wild, man, when this first came out this morning. So he posted this. It's a screenshot from someone who leaked this memo that went out to the ATF this morning. Exclusive: this morning, my team received an email from an officer at ATF. The email included a screenshot from what appears to be an internal message describing a weapon and cartridges located by an ATF and other law enforcement near the scene of the Charlie Kirk shooting at Utah Valley State. And it reads as following. It's so small, I'll just read it from here. On September 10th, 2025, at approximately 12:24 p.m., conservative political influencer Charlie Kirk was shot and killed at the Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah. Mr. Kirk was speaking at the university as part of an American comeback tour. Multiple SLC 1 and 3 agents responded immediately. The suspect fired one shot from an elevated position on a rooftop in an adjacent building on the campus, and surveillance video shows the suspect jumping off and fleeing the area on foot. ATF and other law enforcement located an older model imported Mauser 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle wrapped in a towel in a wooded area near the campus. The location of the firearm appears to match the suspect's route of travel. The spent cartridge was still chambered in addition to 3 unspent rounds at the top-fed magazine. All cartridges have engraved wording on them expressing transgender and anti-fascist ideology. An emergency trace has been submitted and ATF SLC is working leads generated by the trace. The firearm and ammunition have been taken by the FBI for DNA analysis and fingerprint impressions. Upon completion of forensics, the firearm will be disassembled for additional importer information. Multiple people of interest having contacted or detained because of eyewitness testimony and review of video footage. The primary suspect is yet to be identified. ATF is assisting the investigation with multiple other federal, state, and local partners, and the case is co-led by the FBI and Utah SBI. So there's a lot of rumors out there that it was a professional job. Apparently, there were some viral posts going around about how Israel was involved, and possibly it was an inside job by a government entity of some sort. I don't know, CIA or some shit. And highly doubt it. If that were the case, they certainly would have not left their weapon behind, because that would have been extremely stupid on their part. Because even if this person wore latex gloves from the time he got there to the time he left, his DNA is going to be on that rifle. It is. And the ATF has got it, FBI, the federal government, they've got unlimited money at their disposal. They have virtually unlimited technology, really. I mean, modern technology, obviously. And as far as we know, they're gonna get DNA off this weapon one way or another. They're gonna find something, whether if it's like a flake of skin or maybe even a partial fingerprint impression. Something's gonna be on it. In fact, they're probably gonna end up finding DNA for multiple people, really. Because yeah, and you know, DNA is on everything, anything and everything you touch. If it was in his possession, if he bought the gun the day before, they're probably still going to find DNA on it. So even if he wiped it clean, I'm sure they're going to go, they're going to put it through the ringer. I know they're going to take it apart. They're going to look for all the serial numbers they can, if there's any engravings anywhere else, like on the barrel or anywhere else on the gun. And so I'm sure, of course, it takes some time to get DNA analysis back. If they haven't identified them within the next couple of weeks or so, I'm not sure exactly how fast. I'm sure they're going to probably give it the most complex profile they possibly can generate, just to make sure they get it as solid of a lead as they possibly can. But I don't know. I know that DNA, it's advanced a lot. They don't need much DNA anymore these days. I know back in the day, like they had to have a fairly sizable sample just to run a decent DNA profile. But these days, they really don't need much. So I'm pretty confident that they're going to figure out who this is one way or another. I mean, I don't think there's really any doubt in my mind that they will. All right, so this is from 8 hours ago. From Nick Sordor, breaking: the Charlie Kirk shooter's ammunition found inside the bolt-action rifle had transgender and Antifa engravings. Sources confirm to both WSJ and Stephen Crowder. I think that's Wall Street Journal, isn't it? We need to get serious about transgender violence now. The asylums must reopen. I mean, it is a clinical diagnosis, gender dysphoria. That's what they call it. And it's common knowledge that almost 50% of transgenders, they attempt suicide at least once in their life. And yeah, man, now that they've been flooded with political ideologies on top of that, that common act that they sometimes, well, more often than not, it seems to participate in at some point in their life. It's no big surprise to see this rise with transgender violence, and it's probably only going to get worse. And it's frankly, it's kind of scary, man. When I was reading just comments and just posts, not from primary people, not from quote unquote higher ups, whether if it's in government or in social media in general, there's a lot of anger out there. There's a hell of a lot of anger out there. So, I mean, hopefully things don't pop off too crazy. I'm definitely praying that it doesn't. And if you have kids like I do, you're hoping the same. I mean, I'm not sure exactly where this goes. I mean, obviously the left isn't going to tone things down. It's only getting worse. I mean, we've been saying that for like 10 plus years. That, you know, like once this happens, then maybe things will calm down. Maybe people start settling down. Like once the truth keeps coming out and the truth keeps getting more apparent. Now it's just not working that way, man. It's just it keeps getting worse. So, yep, I don't have all the answers. I honestly don't know where it goes from here. So this came out 6 hours ago from the FBI. The FBI is offering a reward of up to $100,000 for information leading to the identification and arrest of the individuals responsible for the murder of Charlie Kirk on September 10th at Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah. Call 1-800-CALL-FBI and submit photos and videos to that website, linked in the description. And there's the image of that. Also, Nick Shorter, once again, breaking Trump advisor Alex Brucewitz. Alex Brucewitz announces he's personally adding $25,000 on top of FBI's $100,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of Charlie Kirk's assassin. Patriots are stepping up. Quote, America lost the most impactful voice of our generation, someone who would never say this himself, but was definitely going to be the president of the United States one day. Not sure if he really would have been, but he absolutely had the charisma. He had the capability. If he actually did run for president, yeah, I'm very confident he would have won without any doubt. I mean, he definitely had the energy for it. That's for sure. So he says, I'll be giving a $25,000 reward on top of the $100K reward being offered by the FBI. We need to get this killer. He's a sick guy who will spend the rest of his life in hell, while Charlie will spend the rest of his life in heaven with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. You're a patriot, Alex Brucewitz. I'm terrible with names. I'm always terrible with names. I'm so bad with names, I could barely even say my own. All right, so I suppose I'll play this. I'll give it a play. Honestly, at first glance, I thought that was an image. I didn't actually notice the play button when I first bookmarked this, but here, we'll give this a play. We'll see where this goes. From Fox News. Let's crank this up.
A Trump advisor who worked with Charlie Kirk to mobilize young voters. Charlie also wrote the foreword for Alex's book, Winning the Social Media War, and they were longtime friends. Alex, first of all, I'm just so sorry for your loss. You two, in many ways, grew up together.
I was reading something.
Your thoughts on losing Charlie just not even a day ago?
Well, Martha, it's been really tough 24 hours. And I lost a friend of mine since I was 16 years old. An incredible woman lost her loving husband, 2 beautiful children, lost their father. And America lost the most impactful voice of our generation. Someone who would never say this himself, but was definitely going to be the president of the United States one day. The way he impacted my life and the lives of every single person in our movement, the lives of every single person in the president's family, it's he's just incredible, the way he's touched us all. And we honor him today, and we honor him every day moving forward, and we will fight for him. And I was just with him 4 days ago in South Korea. It was his first time on a trip to Asia, and I hadn't seen him since the inauguration. I walked into the green room, and he gave me a big hug, and he was telling everybody in the green room how proud of me he was, because I'm getting married in January. And he kept saying that out of all of the great successes that he's had in his life, marrying Erica and having their 2 beautiful children was better than anything else. And he was also making a joke about how we have the West Coast swing states covered because he married former Miss Arizona and I'm marrying former Miss Nevada. And so that just showed a little bit of his humor. But he's an incredible man, and he's the nicest guy that I've ever met in my life. He would never hurt anyone. It breaks my heart that it was him who got hurt. He only wanted to have conversations with people. He only wanted to debate people. He didn't use violence. He didn't use violent rhetoric. He just spoke the truth. But we're up against a sick ideology in this country, Martha. It's a sick ideology that the president called out rightfully in his Oval Office address yesterday. The radical left for too long has been perpetrating this hate on innocent people like the president, who got nearly shot twice, and my friend Charlie, who lost his life yesterday because of the rhetoric that comes from people like Adam Schiff. And these people don't even believe what they say, but they say it anyway because they want to get television hits on MSNBC or CNN. And then there are people, they believe it, but they don't. The people who say it, they don't believe it, because you see them in Washington then, and they kiss your ass. They're the nicest people to your face. But they go on television and they spew this hate. It's sick. And every single person that has said a hateful thing about Charlie or about the president or about any of us must immediately apologize and cease from saying it further. It's a disgrace. And my heart breaks for Charlie. It breaks for his family. It breaks for everybody in their country, because he's a great American. And I love that guy. He's been a great influence on my life, and I'm proud to have called him a friend.
Well, Alex, I know it's not easy to talk about it. It's very raw, and I really appreciate you spending time with us, and I'm glad that you're able to share your feelings about your friend with everyone out there. And I do hope, I've said this a few times, that having Charlie so out there right now, and everybody looking at his speeches and what he talked about, will help to keep his message alive. And I know that you will help to keep that message really alive as well, for freedom of speech, exchange of ideas, respect between people of all backgrounds and all thoughts. And Alex, I just want to thank you very much. And we send all of our sympathies to you at the loss of your dear, dear friend. Thank you for being here, Alex.
Thank you. Thank you, Martha. And real quick, if I could.
Yes.
I'm going to be giving a $25,000 reward on top of the $100,000 reward that's being offered by the FBI. We need to get this killer. He's a sick guy who's going to spend the rest of his life in hell, while Charlie's going to spend the rest of his life in heaven with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Well, let's hope there's need for that reward very soon, and that this person is caught, preferably alive. Alex, thank you very much. Good to have you here today.
Thank you.
Oh, man, dude, that was tough. All right. Yeah, kind of hard to put that into words, really. So this is from Eric Daugherty, reporter. Mr. President, how do you want your supporters to respond to the killing of Charlie Kirk? President Trump, he was an advocate of nonviolence. That's the way I'd like to see the people respond. I mean, yeah, he has to give a presidential answer. He's not going to say anything like eye for an eye, fight fire with fire, nothing like that. And that's the way that the narrative is just going to be driven, that, you know, hold your head up high and take the high road. And I mean, just based on how conservatives act in general, I wouldn't expect anything crazy to happen. I don't know though, man. Like that was one of the only people I can think of that they would have targeted that could cause tensions to really flare up. So, really don't know. Really not sure about that. Like I said, I hope not, man. I've got kids. I don't want this country to get any worse than it already is. Yeah. Just at a loss of words for that. But anyway, here, let's hear what President Trump says.
How do you want to see your supporters respond to this? Charlie Kirk was a big advocate of nonviolence and free speech on campus. How do you want your supporters to respond, sir?
I think that way. He was an advocate of nonviolence. That's the way I'd like to see people respond.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how the left-wing media just like feeds that narrative to him. They already try to frame that. You know, he was a big advocate of nonviolence. So, you know, shouldn't you tell your supporters to, you know, just stand down and don't do anything. Don't respond in any way, shape, or form. Just keep your head down, that kind of thing. But again, it's President Trump. What do you expect him to say? I mean, that's really, I mean, he's the big peacekeeper president. So I wouldn't expect anything else. All right, so this is from FBI Director Kash Patel. The subject in custody has been released. Oh, by the way, this was 23 hours ago. He put this out probably while I was doing the show last night, so I didn't have a chance to catch it. I don't think. Maybe I did read it at the very end. The subject in custody has been released after an interrogation by law enforcement. Our investigation continues, and we will continue to release information in interest of transparency. The subject for the horrific shooting today that took the life of Charlie Kirk is now in custody. Obviously, he's responding, saying that he's been released, and thank you to local and state for your partnership. So there's rumors going around that the two people that they detained, that they were possibly or probably working with the shooter as a distraction while the shooter gets away. I somehow doubt that. I think otherwise the FBI wouldn't have let him go so quickly. So at least I would certainly hope not, because I believe don't the feds have the ability to detain you up to 72 hours, I think. I think I read that somewhere along the way. All right. So also about 21 hours ago from the FBI, FBI is working alongside our local and state law enforcement partners in Utah to fully investigate and seek justice in the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk. Anyone with information, photos, so on and so forth. So basically, I already read that one. So this is from 15 hours ago from Turning Point UK. They murdered our boss, our mentor, our inspiration, our friend. We will not forgive and we will not forget. I mean, look, a lot of emotions are flaring up right now. A lot of people seeing red. I just have a feeling that Charlie would have not agreed with that second to last statement. I mean, I'm sure he would have preached forgiveness no matter what. Although, you know, when it's something that personal, I mean, you cannot hold that against anyone at this point, at least not right now. You know, let forgiveness come later. Let's see justice first. All right. Anyway, from Cabot Phillips, I saw a lot of rumors. This is a quote from Ben Shapiro. I saw a lot of rumors that I canceled my college tour. That is bullshit. I will be coming to college campuses. Charlie's voice is not silent. We're going to pick up that bloodstained microphone and right where Charlie left it. And let me see. I got two of them. Okay, yeah, it's going to be the same clip. So I'm just going to read this one. This is from Ben Shapiro himself. We will never stop debating and discussing. We will never stop standing up for what America is and what she should be. And we will never let Charlie's voice die. To those who would stop us, I have two words. Fuck you. And let's give this a play here.
Now, it's still up to us. I saw a lot of rumors online today. I was made aware of this by my team that I canceled some sort of college tour. That's bullshit. I saw those rumors. They are false.
Good.
I will be coming to college campuses, many of them this year. So will we all, I am sure, because we're Americans.
Except
we're
one
not
person.
going to be deterred.
Except one person who I heard, Tim Pool, he canceled his events. He said he's not going. And he said something along the lines of, I just got married and just had a baby, which they did. They did. However, Charlie Kirk, he has a young family. Ben Shapiro, I'm sure his family's still pretty young, I'm sure. So, yeah, man, like, look, if you enter this space, you understand the risks that you're going into, especially knowing the left, especially somebody like Tim who knows how ruthless the left has been. So he understands the risk going into this game, this game of politics, and the millions of dollars that he's earned along the process by preaching, you know, don't bow down to them, don't lick the boots of the cult, things like that, you know, that kind of rhetoric. So when something like this happens, it's honestly kind of a slap in the face to say, well, I'm going to cancel everything because this really freaked me out. I mean, he didn't use those exact words that he was freaked out. No, what his argument was that it's pointless to go to a college event and speak in front of hundreds of people when I can continue doing my content on the internet and reach millions of people. And to that, I would push back and say, look, your team is live streaming your events at these political events regardless. So whatever you're getting as far as online viewership, you're going to get it at this college event as well, no matter where you go. And I'm sure it's the same with Ben Shapiro and everybody else. And it was very disappointing to hear that because he was the first person that I listened to after hearing this news, because I knew he does a podcast at 8 o'clock. So after I wrapped up my video last night, I just jumped over there and just had a listen. And I heard him make that statement and I was just shaking my head. I was like, oh my God, dude, I really hope that he's the only one that's saying this. So when I heard Ben Shapiro say this morning, I was like, oh, God bless him, man. I'm so glad that he's deciding to press on and don't let them intimidate him, because there was somebody who was on Tim Pool's show last night. I don't know his name. He's mustache, glasses. That's about all I got. But he was pushing back against that too. He said, well, you know, by canceling your events, you're letting them win. You're absolutely letting them win. And he didn't really have a whole lot of pushback with it. He had his argument, but it wasn't a good one. It wasn't a good one at all. And Charlie Kirk would definitely, like, if this happened to somebody else, and not Charlie Kirk, but somebody on his level. I mean, there really isn't anybody on his level, to be honest. He stands alone as far as his influence goes. Like Ben Shapiro is one of one of them. But I mean, if this happened to somebody else, there is no way Charlie Kirk would have backed down. No way at all. No. If anything, he probably would have added maybe 2-3 dozen stops on the current tour that he was on. So anyway, all right, let me go ahead and play this out.
Charlie's voice is not silent. We're going to pick up that bloodstained microphone where Charlie left it. And to those who would intimidate, who would seek to stop us, who would seek to end free discussion, who believe that they have ownership over public spaces and can violently threaten and kill people who speak freely, we are not going to stop. And I have 2 words. Fuck you. We will not stop telling the truth. We will never stop telling the truth. We will never stop debating and discussing. We will never stop standing up for what America is and for what she should be. And we will never let Charlie Kirk's voice die. Goodbye to my friend, Charlie Kirk. May your memory be a blessing for your family and for your country and for all of us.
Yep. And never forget, America's worth fighting for. America's worth dying for. It really is. And you cannot be a coward to the left. Cannot do it. And I hope he changes his mind. I guess we'll just have to see. It's not sounding very likely, but all right. Anyway, let's move on to Eric Daugherty again. Breaking: Marco Rubio's State Department will ban any foreigner from entering the country who celebrated the assassination of Charlie Kirk online. Deputy Secretary of State Chris Landau confirms, and I've got his statement right here. Christopher Landau, who is the Deputy Secretary of State. I did check Marco Rubio's. I could probably check it again. I checked his about an hour ago to see if he made a similar statement, and he didn't. So I'm sure he's very busy today. I'm sure like everybody in the president's cabinet's really busy with probably 9/11 events and things like that. So anyway, he said, in light of yesterday's horrific assassination of a leading political figure, I want to underscore that foreigners who glorify violence and hatred are not welcome visitors to this country. I've been disgusted to see some on social media praising, rationalizing, or making light of the event, and have directed our consular officials to undertake appropriate action. Please feel free to bring such comments by foreigners to my attention so that the State Department can protect the American people. So anybody who was on Blue Sky last night, because apparently Blue Sky was all lit up with celebration, and anybody who was in there who's here with a visa or a green card or whatever, they're going to be kicked out, and rightfully so. So this is from Rep. Anna Paulina Luna. So this is in regard to the, I don't know if I'd use the word chaos, but an argument broke out on the House floor last night when they did a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk, and then Lauren Boebert from Colorado, she stood up and requested a moment of prayer, and a few Democrats shouted no, and yes, kind of a shouting match ensued where my rep, who's Rep. Anna Paulina Luna, she voiced her displeasure as far as the Democrats shouting out at an extremely inappropriate time. So anyway, she says, tonight, Caitlin Collins on CNN aired and edited a clip of me responding to Democrats on the House floor after their members booed Rep. Boebert's motion to hold a prayer for Charlie Kirk's family. I said their hateful rhetoric was responsible for this, and I stand by it. Their rhetoric did cause this. How many times have they called us fascists, Nazis, or war criminals? How often have they claimed the American people will lose their rights or smear us as authoritarian dictators? How often have they attacked Charlie Kirk and others like him? And tonight, when asked simply to pray for a grieving family, they booed. That behavior is disgusting. This edited clip is yet another example of how far CNN will go and how low they'll sink for ratings. So with that, I didn't even bother looking it up. I'm not going to play something that's already been edited down. So I figured I would just get her statement directly. And this comes from Fox News. This was from yesterday at 6:42 p.m. New Utah governor delivers powerful message following the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And they spell out his statement, so I'll just play it here.
If anyone in the sound of my voice celebrated even a little bit at the news of this shooting.
Oh, and they did.
I would beg you to look in the mirror and to see if you can find a better angel in there somewhere. I don't care what his politics are. I care that he was an American.
Yep, absolutely. And they don't. None of them are going to take his words to heart at all. And I'm going to get to that. There's quite a lot of people that were celebrating this horrific atrocity. And this is from Breaking 911, the cover of Time magazine. And it looks like it's going to be on September 29th of 2025. Enough, the killing of Charlie Kirk and the epidemic of American political violence. So apparently it's coming out September. All right, I just wanted to double check. Yeah, it looks like September 29th. So I guess look forward to that. I'm probably not going to buy it because I'm not a fan of Time. Anyway, so this is in Spain from Ada Luch. Spain is mourning Charlie as well. And this is a quick clip from the nation of Spain. Then you got Spanish patriots that are mourning the loss of Charlie Kirk. That's the only one that I have. I'm sure all over the place. I'm sure there's probably a crowd in, I mean, if they're gathering in Spain, you know, I'm sure they're gathering everywhere, or they did last night at least, and probably tonight too. From News Nation, breaking 5 HBCU campuses, including Hampton University, Bethune-Cookman University, Alabama State University, Virginia State University, and Southern University have gone on lockdown after receiving potential threats. This was just 6 hours ago, and it was at 1:22 p.m. That's the latest I have. Let me see what this opens up and see if it might produce any any updates. Excuse me. So let's see here. Updated at 6:29 p.m. At least 8 colleges, including 5 historically black colleges and universities, and the U.S. Naval Academy were put on lockdown Thursday over reported threats against campuses or nearby. U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland, is the latest school to issue an alert over a threat on campus. Cadets were told to get inside and lock your door right now in emails seen by the New York Times. It wasn't immediately clear if there was a threat on campus or if it was a false alarm. Probably a false alarm. Just these fucking leftists just probably calling in death threats, bomb threats, doing whatever they can. Let's see. UMass Boston issued an alert over a threat on campus hours earlier. Police swarmed campus in search of a gunman after an unconfirmed report of shots fired. The school later gave the all clear but canceled all classes and activities. Earlier on Thursday, Virginia State University announced a lockdown out of an abundance of caution, with students advised to check their school emails for updates. Southern University, Alabama State University were also under lockdown orders, adding that campus police, along with other law enforcement agencies, are actively clearing all buildings on campus, so they obviously got a threat too. Hampton University, Bethune-Cookman University announced classes would be canceled Thursday and Friday, with students being advised not to come to campus. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, this is the state we're in right now, because you've got these university professors fully brainwashing people to the point where they're willing to just incite violence over rhetoric that is completely not based in reality in any way, shape, or form. And I mean, like, what's next week going to look like? Are they going to have to cancel classes in the following days? I don't know. And of course, the left-wing media, the legacy media, they're going to spin this suggesting that a bunch of right-wingers are now calling in death threats to schools, and couldn't be farther from the truth, because that's not how the right operates. They can't point to a single instance, as far as I know, where right-wingers have engaged in this behavior. This is 100% on the left. The right doesn't play this game. So it's a breaking news story and will be updated. So this will be linked below if you're connected to any of these universities, if you know anybody there or anything like that, if you want to follow the latest. It's on News Nation. So, you know, if you trust their reporting, newsnationnow.com, it'll be linked below if you want to check that out. They did say that they're going to update it. So there you have it. And moving on to breaking 911, breaking police swarm Democratic National Committee headquarters in Washington, D.C. Again, also 6 hours ago, 1:46 p.m. The details are scarce. This message was sent to all Senate email account holders. Police activity, Democratic National Committee headquarters. Please inform your staff. Capitol Police are responding to an incident at the DNC headquarters, and staff are asked to remain clear of the police activity. More updates are forthcoming as the situation evolves. Immediately report any suspicious activity, so on and so forth. Yeah, possible. It's possible. Maybe. I would definitely be putting my money on, if there was a threat, it was probably called in from the left. Some leftist activist, and hoping that the mainstream media will pick it up as right-wing threats, as they almost certainly will. There is almost no doubt about that. Anything that's being reported, whether if it's true or false, like all of these campus ones, I guarantee you they're going to say that conservative individuals or right-wing Nazis are calling all of the universities trying to get students killed or some shit. That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it's too easy, man. It's just too easy to expect what they're going to be reporting, because they've just been engaging in this fucking behavior for so long now. All right, so from RT, this is getting pretty conspiratorial. I just figured I'd play this, see if if you haven't seen this before, I don't really know what to think of it. It is suspicious, but these men that were standing right behind Charlie Kirk in the moments before he was shot, they repeat unusual gestures seconds before assassination. Repeat touching of white hat and ear on the left. A man wearing a black shirt, hand signals who's standing on his right. If it's Kirk's security, what do the signs mean? You would think they would have been his security if they're standing right behind him. And it's definitely strange. Here, let me play this one here. Let's see if we can. You see what he's doing over here? Like touches hat. He touches hat twice. And then like this dude like gives a signal. It's only 1 second.
Counting or not counting gang violence? Great.
You see how he like patted his arm? I don't know, man. Not really sure. Let me see if it'll play again. It's way too big though.
Counting or not counting gang violence? Great.
Yeah, I guess just take it for what it is, I suppose. Here's another one. And why are these two guys giving hand signals immediately before the shot, both standing perfectly to the side of the bullet track? So quick 7 seconds here. These are the two guys right here. And one of them obviously looks like he's filming.
Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years? Counting or not counting gang violence? Great.
It's sus. Yep. Definitely suspicious. And this one comes from, I have no idea, TMG, or Emilio 2763. That's who it came from. Emilio 2763. And they say, why did a private jet take off from a private airport 12 minutes from the shooting with its radar illegally turned off 20 minutes after the assassination? Private jet with the tail number N888KG departed Provo Airport an hour after the shooting. And then they supposedly switched off their radar. So anyway, there's context here, readers. So they got community noted. Flight Radar 24 has the full flight details for both flights. This data is captured by ADS-B. So it doesn't sound like they're disputing it. I'll take a look at those here in a second. Let's play this first and see what this is.
888 Kilo, contact departure, 161 matter, how many day? For departure, Kilo, okay.
All right, whatever. The fucking music, man. All right, notably 30 minutes into the flight, it disappeared from ADS-B and reappeared headed back to Provo approximately an hour later, as if they must have dropped somebody off somewhere. Maybe in some, where the hell are they going to land that jet if not at an airstrip with a concrete surface or an asphalt surface? I doubt it landed on. Maybe it did. I don't know. If it did, then that's one hell of a sophisticated assassination. It just seems like it's a little bit over the top when there could have just been like a vehicle waiting on the other side of a neighborhood and that's it. But Obviously, they're seeming, in my opinion, to signal that it was some government inside job, or maybe those who claim it was Israel are probably pointing to this as a definitive proof or strong evidence of that. So let's see if there's anything else here. The aircraft is not available for public tracking. Let's see. Where did this plane disable? Why did the plane disable its radar? Where is the shooter? And they're showing the map. Not sure if it's showing anything else. I didn't see it disappear, though. Oh, here it reappears on ADS-B radar. All right, well, they didn't show that either. So there's supposedly somebody running off the roof. Yeah, definitely somebody running. That was definitely the shooter, obviously. Obviously the shooter. It's like he stood up to make sure that he got him, and then he started taking off. So, all right. Well, that's that. And let me take a look at this here. FlightRadar24.com. Okay, so this is just real-time data. It's not going to, at least I'm... Oh, wait, no. Yeah, okay. No, this is the details. Flight history for aircraft N888KG. Let's see, more than 7 days of N888KG history is available with an upgrade to a silver, gold, or business subscription. Holy moly. I'm not going to be getting that. That's kind of a shame that they paywalled it. That sucks. It would be nice if somebody had captured images of it. But hold on, let me go back. Maybe. Let's see what this is all about. This is on FAA, so maybe this has better information. Automatic dependent surveillance broadcast ADS-B. No, it just seems to be just general information. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything on that plane specifically. All right. Well, I think if there was more information, it probably would have been all over the place, but that's about the extent of what I saw. Now, look, there were millions and millions of posts that went out today. So just to show you how many that have been posting about Charlie Kirk. See, 618 just the last 3 hours. Charlie Kirk assassinated, FBI hunts killer. I don't know why it changed, but this number was like at like 13, 14 million earlier. So you just take a look to see if it's over here on trending. Nope, doesn't look like. It's definitely still trending. Just X is kind of weird sometimes with their trending, but yeah, here we go. Charlie Kirk assassinated in Utah shooting amid political fury. 13 million posts within the last day, and it's probably even higher than that, or closer to 14 million at least. So, and also real quick, while I'm thinking about it, because I'm probably going to forget if I don't show this right now. So where is it? All right, here we go. So this was posted from James Woods last night. I forgot to include this in my list. And this is TMZ, and they had been doing a live stream when the news that Charlie Kirk was assassinated came in to their newsroom, and you could hear people in the background celebrating and cheering. And they blame it on a high-speed car chase that was going on. And I have the car chase. I don't know why nobody else posted it, but I did. I posted it, and I replied to James Woods' post, and it actually got quite a bit of attention. But anyway, here, let's go ahead and play this first.
Janet, go.
I'm going to play that again. Hold on.
Go to have.
Here we go.
Janet, go to have somebody look at the Fox. Trump just posted that Charlie Kirk is dead.
All right, so is this ready to pull the trigger? We can get Trump cut in a second.
While they were celebrating in the other room, and TMZ says, we want to make it clear that these cheers were a reaction to a high-speed chase happening in California. This was prior to and not related to Charlie Kirk's death. Bullshit. Bullshit. Here's the police chase TMZ claims they were celebrating. Who cheers when a suspect stops under a bridge and disappears? Never watch trash TMZ again. As expected, the cultists are celebrating Charlie Kirk's death there too. So I posted that. When did I post that? Oh, September 10th, or last night. Obviously, I posted it last night, but it was at 11:14 p.m. last night. So we're going to check this out. This is the police chase that they were talking about. And this police chase happened in Los Angeles, and it happened somewhere around like 1:50 in the afternoon.
Out of that second vehicle
1:54.
And approached CHP.
Now this, they're going to say it here in just a second, but this chase had been going on for about 30 minutes when they cut in with this feed. And we end up seeing what happens with these suspects.
Right. In that intersection.
I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm going to skip it, of course.
A very
we don't have to watch all this.
Odd and dangerous chase by the actions of this.
Man, I don't know why it's glitching out so bad. See if I can help that a little.
No doubt about it. And that really was unusual to see the person
I think I got to restart my computer or something.
And go to the CHP's
all right, so this is the vehicle right here.
Which is very dangerous. I mean, I don't understand.
Let me go ahead and skip a bit.
And Western, I believe, is traffic themselves as well.
And we know
that's the vehicle right here.
You know, pedestrians.
It's a white SUV.
Minding their own business.
Where
all right, let me just get to the point where they go under the bridge.
Going. They're on Avalon and 91st Street. So that would generally have them heading southbound, if I'm getting that correctly. So they're on Avalon southbound.
Hey, by the way, Philip, we were just talking about the overpass. We're learning that the CHP.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out where that
got onto
here
the
it is.
freeway.
Here it is.
To the right, if you could. I think it was the passenger side.
So they duck
off the freeway.
Yeah, I'll just play it from here.
They keep doing kind of U-turns, or they're just kind of right.
So they drive underneath this bridge.
Right, left, like just kind of going into this sort of the grid of this area. But then as you
into oncoming traffic now.
Oncoming traffic now. Now that is very dangerous. And I know we are getting close to the 2 o'clock hour. Several kids do, the elementary kids get out of school.
Yeah, you think the cops would have been on them, but they're not. This is how they do it in LA. The cops instantly back off when somebody takes off.
Collision, yeah, but that
they just let them go
on it the whole time during the special report.
Well, we do know there's damage to the vehicle.
He drives,
we don't know if that vehicle damage is caused. It was already there, but if you've noticed on one of the, I think it was the passenger side that did seem that there were some crash
that's all
marks
we see.
As if it hit something.
They stay on it for a couple of minutes.
Right there, if that's the vehicle that we're looking at. Nope, in the front, Air 7, I think to the right.
Yeah, so they don't come out the other end.
Right? Is that not it there?
No.
I was thinking
he didn't come out the other end. They stopped under the bridge. I believe the police finally got there and they found the car was abandoned.
That is about to go forward.
They believe that there was another vehicle waiting for them under the overpass.
Okay, so
and they hopped into another vehicle and took off.
The vehicle got on the highway, so maybe Air 7 to the right, if you could. There goes a red vehicle, but I'm not sure if that was them. They definitely switched, and we lost them right there at that metro spot.
Yep. So they don't come out the other end. From what I understand, the police eventually got underneath the overpass and they found the vehicle that was there, nobody in it, and they never caught him. They just got away. This is it again, 1:57. That's Pacific time, so that would have been what 2:57 Mountain time when this was unfolding. I don't have the exact time when Charlie Kirk was shot. However, this was the only thing, this is the only chase that they were televising in Los Angeles at the time. This is it. And it was on ABC 7. They're always following police chases. Nothing happened. The only thing that I did hear that happened during this police chase before they started this feed on this video, at least, was that they had been driving just basically the exact same way they're driving now for the last half an hour. Nothing overly dramatic, just trying to stay ahead of the cops. And there was one point where they stopped their vehicle in front of a CHP officer and they rolled down their window, and it appeared that they were yelling at one of the cops for like for a hot second. Apparently they yelled it, they stopped the car, they yelled at the cops for a second, and then they took off. That was supposedly like the climax of the chase, other than them just ducking underneath this bridge and then most likely hopping in another car and just taking off. So when TMZ says that this was what they were celebrating, to that I ask, what were they celebrating? That there was no shootings, there was no scuffles, there weren't cops tackling people, they weren't running on foot, and then they grabbed them and threw threw him in the back of the car after they handcuffed him. None of that happened. So what the hell were they celebrating if they were celebrating a car chase? Because that was the only thing they were showing on the news. And TMZ, yeah. So, all right. But anyway, I mean, I'm glad it got some attention. Definitely, because I know James Woods didn't mention that. And I was scrolling through his comments after I looked it up because I'm subscribed to one of the live police chases channels on YouTube. So that's how I was able to find it, because and I believe the channel's called that, Live Police Chases. And anytime there's something that goes live, they tap straight into it on YouTube, which is really nice because I don't know, I like watching police chases sometimes. So anyway, let me see if I got one more. Okay, so this is them addressing the quote unquote tone deaf laughter. So we'll give this a listen and see what they say here. Maybe if it'll decide to play.
We were live streaming all day during this tragedy. When something happened in our office.
And we caught you.
As we were reporting the assassination of Charlie Kirk, there were some people in the back room away from our news desk here who were watching a car chase. And they were laughing, they were clapping, and you could hear it out here. And we want to make a couple of things clear. One is that I know these people, and they were not laughing, they were not reacting that way about Charlie Kirk's assassination. They were
Fucking
not.
liar.
They would not work here if they did.
And that being said, we acknowledge that it was horrible timing, and for that we are sorry.
We apologize. We apologize that you had to hear.
Why the fuck are you apologizing? Bring their stupid asses out here and make them apologize. Why don't they come out here and fucking apologize? And they're completely full of shit. They're absolutely full of shit. They look all coked up too, by the way.
I get why if you were watching the stream, you may have felt that that's what the laughter was about. We assure you it was not about that, but it was horrible timing. And
by the way, I get it too, and he gets it because we listened as we were talking.
You can go back and look on the stream. I actually walked off camera to go back and find out what the hell was going on because it was inappropriate for the laughter at that time. But no one was laughing about the Charlie Kirk tragedy.
No, you went back there and said, we're fucking lied. Save the shit for later.
Nevertheless,
that's what you probably fucking said.
For the way it sounded.
Yeah, whatever, man. So I really hope that more of that is getting out there because they deserve to be held accountable for that shit. And it was crystal clear, man. People were celebrating all over the place on the left. They were. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. So that happened from TMZ. So if you're a big fan of TMZ, I don't know, you might want to rethink that. At least my opinion. I mean, I certainly am. All right, so let me get back to where we were. So I'm going to move on to the next one here. So Scott Adams, they know what they did, and that's in response to the blaze from about 10 hours ago. Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries responded to President Trump blaming the radical left for Charlie Kirk's assassination. And they give a quote here, so I'll just play it. Another couple of assholes who are fucking full of shit, too.
Well, look, the bottom line is a time that all Americans should come together and feel and mourn what happened. Violence, which affects so many different people of so many different political persuasions, is an affliction of America.
Only on the left.
Coming together is what we ought to be doing, not pointing fingers of blame.
This moment requires leadership that brings the American people together as opposed to trying to further divide us. Political violence.
Well, you know how they're full. The reason I know that they're full of shit because they're not going to go to the media. They're not going to go to college professors. They're not going to go to Hollywood. They're not going to go to anybody who's pushing all this fucking anti-right-wing propaganda, calling everybody Nazis and fascists and xenophobes and misogynists and all that bullshit. They're not going to go out and say, tone it down, stop it, or else we're going to inflict consequences, whatever those might be. They're not doing that. They're not. Not in any way, shape, or form.
Any form against any American is unacceptable, should be denounced by everyone, and moving forward, we have to figure out a better way to come together. Not as Democrats or Republicans, but as Americans.
Yeah, whatever, man. And let's say another person gets assassinated, and then another, and then another. On and on and on. They're just going to say the same thing. We should come together and not get violent. How do you think they would have reacted if that were the other way around? I tried to think of someone who would be Charlie Kirk's counterpart on the left. I'm coming up empty-handed, really, because anybody on the left, the ones who have a loud voice, they're usually hiding behind a screen. They don't go out and do what Charlie Kirk was doing, or Ben Shapiro. I can't think of anybody who actually goes and actually has debates. They don't debate on the left unless they're debating from behind a camera where it's very scripted, choreographed, and just very carefully planned. The same when the Democrats do their town halls. All the questions are all scripted. It's all fucking fake across the board. So let's say there was a counterpart to Charlie Kirk and that happened to them. Do you think they would have said the same thing? Do you think they would have come out and said, well, we should tone down the violence and we should just come together and, say our prayers and kumbaya, and then we'll just pick up the pieces and move on? No. Hell no. They'll do the same thing like they were doing with January 6th. They wouldn't shut the fuck up about it for like 2 fucking years. They would go on and on and on about how everybody needs to be rounded up, arrested. We have to exterminate the extremists. That's what they would do. All right, anyway, breaking 911. Mark Levin sounds off after Charlie Kirk was assassinated during a campus event. You piece of shit that killed him. Let me tell you something. You're going to get caught. You need to be put to death. So we'll give this clip a watch.
You piece of shit that killed him. Let me tell you something. You're going to get caught. You heard the governor of Utah. You heard him tell you that they have capital punishment. And you need to be put to death. And they need to find this guy who killed this young man, who assassinated Charlie Kirk in front of 3,000 college students. And I'm not kidding. This is an attack on our republic. People say this needs to end now. This needs to end now. Well, the only way to end it is to make an example. And enough is enough with life terms. Enough is enough with all the rest of it. This guy needs to pay the price, and the whole country needs to see it. And as for...
Absolutely. And they need to rebuild the gallows. They need to hang his ass publicly. That's exactly what they need to do. They need to hang him in public for all to see. All over the television. Of course, the mainstream news won't do that. And I know that's not going to happen. Of course, it's not going to happen, but it needs to happen. And one thing I'm worried about more than anything is if the heat is getting too close to this asshole, he's going to end up offing himself. He's going to Control-Alt-Delete himself. I'm sorry, YouTube. Probably can't say offing. It's got to be something a little more G-rated because that's what they tend to do. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully he does face justice because that's what the American people deserve, to say the very least. Let's see here. So from Libs of TikTok, I think I'm going to start getting into the individuals who've been called out for celebrating this incident, the assassination. Libs of TikTok, exactly. And that's in response to No Data Republican. No business owner is boarding up tonight in fear of riots. The left and the right are not the same. And they are absolutely right. Absolutely correct. And that is a very good point. Yeah, nobody's locking down their cities. Nobody's getting ready for fire bombings and smashing and looting and riots and all that shit. No, because that's not how the right operates. No, I think the right would probably be, it's hard to envision it, but I think they'd be a lot more calculated. They don't want to wake up that sleeping giant. That's all I got to say. They really don't. I mean, it scares even me. It scares me to imagine that, because, if the right were to organize to the extent that the left has, and if they want to inflict violence, it's going to be a very, very different kind of violence. And it's going to be a very scary type of violence. And of course, whenever the left is faced by the right, they usually run like cowards anyway. I mean, that's at least, you remember back when the Proud Boys were showing up to Antifa rallies and they would just like beat the shit out of them. And then like Antifa would just run away like a bunch of cowards. Yeah, they used to do that a lot. They used to eat Antifa for breakfast. So I'm not so sure if they're organizing anymore. I know that what the hell was his name? Enrique Tarrio. He was not even at the Capitol on January 6th, but they arrested him and threw him in prison anyway, even though he wasn't even fucking there. And then, of course, they call it like a Nazi organization, these right-wing extremists, except Enrique Tarrio is a black Cuban, and he's the leader of the Proud Boys. Like, you can't make this shit up, man. These people are full-blown retarded. They have no fucking clue what they're talking about. So anyway, this is from Libs of TikTok. You do not hate the leftist media enough. And this is an image from Star Tribune. The conservative activist shot Wednesday has been lobbying Islamophobic attacks at Minneapolis mayoral candidate Omar Fateh since mid-July. Charlie Kirk was slated to come to the University of Minnesota in 12 days. Yep. Libs of TikTok again. There's going to be quite a bit from Libs of TikTok. Whoever's running, I know her name. I can't remember her name. She's got one of those names that I can't pronounce because I can't pronounce anybody's name. I can barely pronounce John Smith. Whoever's running Libs of TikTok, they've been extremely busy. I don't think they got a wink of sleep last night because tons of people are sending, like put this person on blast, put that person on blast. They're digging through, I'm assuming Blue Sky. They're digging through Blue Sky and they're finding people who are teachers, professors, superintendents, even police officers, leaders of other different types of organizations. They found a librarian, like tons and tons of people who were celebrating, and they're trying as hard as they can to put them out on blast. And there's even politicians, members of Congress, senators who are taking notice, and they're calling for their firing. And, you know, I'll get to that. I'll get to that here in a minute. But first, this is how The Guardian is covering Charlie after he was assassinated. The media is evil. And I'll just read the highlighted part. He is also known for his inflammatory, often racist and xenophobic commentary, particularly on college campuses. Oh, please give us an example. They can't because it's not true. He's not given any of that. He doesn't give racist and xenophobic commentary. If he talks about racism, he's talking statistics, government statistics. That's when he brings up elements of racism, at least if he's talking numbers, or if he's talking about the culture war or anything like that. I mean, he might talk about, you know, like percentages in prisons or like black on black violence or something like that. But it's all going to be rooted in data and statistics whenever he brings up shit like that. I've seen quite a lot of Charlie Kirk's his speeches, his debates, his arguments. I mean, he's been on tons of podcasts. He has his own podcast. I mean, admittedly, I didn't watch his podcast because there's just a million different freaking podcasts out there these days. But I know he had one, and it was really popular. I'm sure when Dan Bongino went to work for the FBI, I'm sure, you know, his Charlie Kirk's podcast probably gained a lot of popularity, a lot of new viewers, as well as, you know, others in this space. So, all right. So anyway, from Raw's alerts, breaking, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' administration, along with the Florida Department of Education, has just announced that it will launch investigations into any teacher who celebrates Charlie Kirk's death, warning of serious consequences. I am so happy to be a Floridian, man. I absolutely love Ron DeSantis. Wasn't crazy about him when he announced he was running against Trump. You know, he kind of slipped on some banana peels with that one. But yeah, he's been highly effective, man. Anyway, let's give this a watch. All right, never mind. That's just going to be a freaking GIF. It's just one of those GIFs, one of those skins. I thought, let me see if I can, let me just take a quick look. I want to say that he actually did speak to that. Just give me a second here. Governor DeSantis. Not sure. I'm assuming he would have put it on his own profile. Let's see, 5 hours. All right, hold on. Celebrating the assassination of a 31-year-old father of two young kids is disturbing. That teachers would be among those who do so is completely unacceptable. Glad Stasi Kamaratsis is bringing accountability. It's sad that we've seen a number of teachers across America celebrate Charlie Kirk's murder. Memorandum. Upholding professional conduct and ethical responsibilities. Okay. Teachers held to a higher standard. All right. So they're saying, wait. Florida Commissioner of Education. I was wondering who this guy was. So he's the commissioner, the education commissioner for the state of Florida. Teachers are held to a higher standard as public servants and must ensure their conduct does not undermine the trust of the students and families they serve. We will hold teachers who choose to make disgusting comments about the horrific assassination of Charlie Kirk accountable. Govern yourselves accordingly. So there you go. So Ron DeSantis reposted it and agreed with it. So yeah, they should consider themselves on notice. And I know Libs of TikTok has already called out at least one teacher, maybe even more than one teacher so far in the state of Florida. And I'm not sure if they were one of the ones who were suspended just yet, but there's quite a few. So I'm going to start getting into that here in a sec. Right. From Lord Bebo, after Charlie was shot, a dude came to steal his merch. Shameless.
Yeah. Grab me out. Hey, yo, grab me out. Let's go up, guys. Come on. Let's go up, guys. I don't know. Let's go. I have no idea. Let's go. Come on, guys. What are you doing? Get the fuck out. What? Let's go.
It's unbelievable. How come they didn't have that sealed off? I'm assuming that's exactly where Charlie was sitting. I mean, was Charlie not still there in the moment? I don't know, but just absolutely disgusting, man. I can't believe somebody would do that. It's absolutely fucked up, man. Oh, I want a piece of this. I want something to take home with me. It's such bullshit. All right. From Tara Bowl, it's people like this who encouraged today's violence against Charlie Kirk. It's posted last night regarding Harry Sisson. Charlie Kirk is a sick, racist piece of trash. Just put the Klan hood on already, Charlie. Yeah, this dude's a fucking piece of shit. And he's a paid shill from the Democrats. He just parrots whatever the hell that they tell him to put out there. That's what he does. He's just nothing but a pathetic little microphone or megaphone. Breaking 911, this makes your blood boil. And it's from Occupy Democrats. Charlie Kirk spent his entire life disparaging immigrants, disrespecting women, and blaming black folks, only to get shot in one of the whitest places on earth. That is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. From Baked Alaska, everyone go to the replies of ABC Shark Tank and ask them why their producer, Andrew Kimmel, is mocking and celebrating the murder of Charlie Kirk. And why is the supervising producer of ABC Shark Tank and BuzzFeed News mocking and celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder? You don't hate the media enough. And so this individual replied to Laura Loomer's post, just shot while speaking in Utah. And he said, if only thoughts and prayers worked. Now, if he wasn't your card-carrying Democratic left-winger, if he wasn't, I mean, I could take that as far as, I wish he was here. I just don't, like prayers aren't going to bring him back. You know what I mean? Like if in the right context, maybe, but that's not what he was talking about. Obviously, no, he was talking about it from a position of evil. Anyway, mostly peaceful memes. Here's an active duty Marine Corps officer and recruiter celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder. And let's see, Captain William, USMC. And that's his profile. Let's see what we got here. Another racist man popped. That's what he shared. And I'm assuming a lot of these are, I mean, that one was on X, no, this one wasn't on X, was it? Is this on Blue Sky? It's probably on Blue Sky. Yeah, that'd be my guess. I don't know. Let's see. Mostly peaceful memes. If you know of any other War Department employee or senior military member celebrating Charlie's murder, DM me. I will make sure the appropriate people see. These communist rats have infiltrated our military at every level. Yeah, they have. Absolutely have, man. Biden was in office for 4 years. Of course they fucking did. Libs of TikTok. There's going to be quite a few from them. Samantha Marenjo, a teacher at King Elementary School, posted a video online appearing to celebrate Charlie Kirk being assassinated. This person teaches your children. Any comment framing Framingham Public Schools. And it got 22,000 likes. So 1.4 million eyeballs saw it. So that's an awful lot. And I don't even really want to play the fucking video. Should I even do that? I don't even really want to play this shit.
God bless America.
Appearing to. She's going to say, well, I was drunk and I was just acting immature. Dude, you're a fucking teacher. You shouldn't be filming yourself drinking alcohol any fucking way. Whatever it means. People are sick. Good riddance. Here's one that lost, or that at least was, oh yeah, okay, this one was fired. There's some who have reportedly been suspended, and I don't think that's nearly good enough, because there's some, in some cases, like with an individual who voiced their displeasure that Trump survived his event. somebody who worked in the government. I think it was somebody working in the Secret Service, or maybe it was in the FBI. But they voiced something along these lines, and they were suspended because they were up for retirement in like a year, and they didn't fire them because they would have lost their pension. So they suspended them for a year, and then once their pension was eligible, then they were fired. Unbelievably fucked up that they did that. So anyway, good riddance. Middle Tennessee State University fired Assistant Dean Laura Sosh Leidy within hours of her despicable comments about Charlie Kirk's murder. And this is the statement from MTSU President Sidney A. McPhee. A MSTU employee today offered inappropriate and callous comments on social media concerning the horrific and tragic murder of Charlie Kirk. The comments by this employee, who worked in a position of trust directly with students, were inconsistent with our values and have undermined the university's credibility and reputation with our students, faculty, staff, and the community at large. This employee has been fired effective immediately. We extend our deepest sympathies to the Kirk family. Now, I'm assuming a professor that is quote unquote tenured, because I hear that that teachers, professors in the education world, that they throw out that word tenured, and that means that their job is protected. And you can't fire me. I'm tenured here. So I don't know if that's going to be any kind of a hurdle that some universities are going to have to overcome if there are professors, because you know there's professors out there that are spewing this fucking bullshit. And I don't know. That's why I'm not nearly satisfied enough to see some of these individuals being suspended but not fired. But she was fired. That's a good thing. That's one, with many, many more to go. So this from Cam Higbee. Meet Scott Kaiser, self-identified as the content coordinator for ABC News WCPTO 9 TV station in Cincinnati. He and his apparent wife, Cheryl Kaiser, celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder with confetti emojis within hours of his death. And so Scott, husband, says, you hate to see it. And she said, you don't. And then he says, do you though? Somebody else, some Andrew James, I don't know. So there was that. And that's them. And that's him. Xavier University. So those are a couple of other scumbags. So this is from Senator Marsha Blackburn. This person should not be allowed within 10 feet of university students, let alone allowed to instruct them. Mr. Rex has tried to walk these comments back, but the damage has been done. He should be fired immediately. Now, when a U.S. senator is calling for your firing, you probably should get fired. From Mike Rex, crying about a Nazi getting shot while staying silent about the school shooting in Colorado today is peak Republican. On Charlie Kirk, thoughts and prayers. Oh, and karma is a beautiful, you know what? Yep. He should be fired. Fire this motherfucker, man. Fire him. Mostly peaceful Latinas. Professor Anna Maria Guaydial from Miami-Dade College posted on Facebook, Mr. Kirk chose to advocate for an unbridled Second Amendment. Well, those who worship a gun culture can't complain. These are the type of educators who are indoctrinating and damaging your kids. Absolutely. Yeah. How do I know that she's in the cult? Gee, I wonder. I fucking wonder. She got her 17 boosters. And there's that statement. Moving on to the next one. Hi, CBC Comm Schools. This, or community schools. This, your school counselor in charge of kids' mental health. And they left a long-winded. I don't believe, or I'm not a believer in anyone should be able to own any firearm they want. So they're anti-Constitution. They're anti-American. Because you cannot be pro-American or in any way be pro-Constitution and be against one of our fundamental rights that we have, our Bill of Rights. You can't. There's no way around it. So anyway, I'm not going to read their garbage, but it's on here. Cam Higbee again. I have identified the man who said I would have killed him myself tonight at a candlelight vigil for Charlie Kirk at State Farm _206. Find his name, find his job, alert his family. And that got 818,000 eyeballs on it. So there's a pretty good possibility that somebody found him by now. And so there was, I'm not going to play that. Don't want to play it. Rep. Marionette Miller Meeks, MD. I'm disturbed by a post from an Oskaloosa teacher celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk and calling him a Nazi. Cheering political violence is always wrong and should never be done by those who educate our children. I will be contacting the superintendent and principal first thing in the morning to ensure this is addressed immediately. And that was his post there. Probably, well, that looks like Facebook, actually. And mostly peaceful memes. Hey, Children's LA, is this one of your residents? And let's see. Pediatrics. Charlie Kirk says gun deaths, unfortunately, worth it to keep Second Amendment. The irony is rich, but sure, keep up the thoughts and prayers. All right. It's not as bad as I've seen from others, but that's still pretty freaking bad, man. It's not good. Now's not the time to be saying anything like that. Anyway, from MJ Truth Ultra, attention New Orleans, the Courtyard Brewery celebrates the assassination of Charlie Kirk. They also admit to pissing in their customers' beer. I hope their business goes to ruins. And he circled this post here from Courtyard Brew. LOL, this guy talked nothing but egregious shit his entire career, and you think the groups of people he worked to strip rights from and F their lives up owe him any grace and death? The groups of people to strip rights. What rights? What rights have you lost, asshole? What fucking rights? I'm all ears. Nah, man, Americans have long memories. Nobody I know cried for Rush Limbaugh either. Dude, the only violence is coming from the left. 100%, but of course we all know that. Chicago therapist celebrates Charlie Kirk's death. I just received a tip that Melanie Brown, a Chicago therapist for a life stance, is on social media celebrating Charlie's death as karma and praising Etsy witches who cursed Kirk. And that's an image of her. Melanie Blanton, therapist in Chicago. So if you happen to live in Chicago, might want to get the word out. Give them a call. Do what the left does. That's one of the tactics, one of the many, many tactics that the left does. If you say something that they disagree with, they will organize, and it won't be a massive organization, but they'll organize in the hundreds, or they'll put your name out on social media and then try to get your phone number, try to get your employer's name, and that's exactly what they'll do. They'll get a hold of your employer by the dozens, and they'll just call back over and over again, pretending to be other people to make it sound like that there's thousands of people who are calling for your termination when it's not. It's a rather small group of political activists, and they didn't like what you said, so they're trying to get your entire life ruined. So that's a tactic they've been employing for years, many years. Breaking 911, this is Miami anesthesiologist Dr. Tatiana N. Atkins, who worked at Larkin Community Hospital. Who would trust this deranged psychopath with dangerous narcotics and your lives in her hands? I'm not going to play the whole thing, but let's get a quick look at her derangement. You can tell by the pretty close to on target septum piercing, but they kind of missed, obviously.
I'm just really glad Charlie Kirk just got himself fucking shot, because he's right. Empathy is dangerous to society. So no one should give a fuck that he's dead.
All right. Yeah. So there you have it. So if you live in Miami, Dr. Tatiana N. Atkins. So there you have it. Definitely should not be working at any hospital. Would you, like they said, would you trust this evil woman, like, with your life? I mean, it's one of the most vulnerable positions you could possibly be in. Probably the most vulnerable position you could be in as a patient in a hospital is under the care of a fucking anesthesiologist. I'm pretty sure that the anesthesiologists, they're the ones that fuck up the most when it comes to procedures. Oh, I gave him a little too much and now he's dead. Oops. So yeah, I'm sure she's probably got a few bodies in her closet. So Kat Kanata, this is Don Jonescu, Jonescu, who apparently works for CHCH News. He calls the assassination of Charlie Kirk delicious. Is this professional conduct? That's another one. And Libs of TikTok again. Jasmine Marguia is a suicide prevention coordinator for the Colorado Department of Health. Here she is justifying the killing of Charlie Kirk. Your tax dollars pay her salary. Any comment? And there's that one. And Michael Kilbane, City Council President of Fairview Park, Ohio. He needs to resign. This is absolutely sickening. I mean, elected officials, man. And it really pains me to have to go through this and say this shit, because I have always been very strongly against messing up people's livelihoods. Whether if you're getting a hold of their employer or their bank or their landlord or whoever it might be, I've always been very strongly against that. I think, like, look, not agreeing politically or even saying something along these lines, like if somebody made that statement on Facebook and like 100 people saw it, you know, what they're saying does fall under the First Amendment. Unless they're saying, you know, like who's next or something like if they're doing an active call to violence, that's obviously a completely different thing. But however, like the conservative in me is saying that, well, they do have a constitutional right to say whatever that's on their mind, as egregious as this is. And I mean, but in this circumstance, as bad as these are, I mean, what else can you do? There's so many people, like half the population. Well, hell, the popular majority voted for Trump. I'm not saying that they're all conservative or they're all Republicans. I mean, I've never been a Republican, not a registered Republican. But I mean, we're talking roughly half the country that these people service, that they work for, that they do business with. And this is absolutely egregious. But it just goes to show how lost these people are. They really think that they are the status quo and that everyone else, like anybody who aligns with the right or is even barely right of center, that they're the extreme minority, that we're just a handful of evil Nazi loudmouth people. And it is actually they who are the very small minority. The progressive leftists, what do they represent? Like 10, maybe 15%. Of course, there's a lot more Democrats, and I'm sure that number is probably growing as the mainstream media brainwashes further and further year after year after year. I'm sure those numbers are only going to go up, especially the more people who go to universities. And depending on which school you end up in, if you're in the STEM fields, you know, it might be limited. You might be getting a little bit of it in your prerequisites, but I'm sure for the most part, you're probably not getting, you know, tons of political propaganda fed to you than if you went to like a liberal arts school or something along those lines. I don't know. Anyway, libs of TikTok, a nurse. It's so terrifying that these people celebrating murder work in the healthcare industry. Yeah, that's obviously a fair point. Someone want to contact Jennifer's place of employment. And look, this is the game that the left has been playing for years. And all these people are doing is they're taking a page out of the left's playbook by saying that, oh, well, they said something we don't agree with. Now it's time to dox them and time to just completely erase them from the conversation in every single conceivable way. Canceling them, that was the word I was trying to come up with. It's time to cancel them, which means do anything that you can to make their life as miserable as humanly possible because they have an opposing viewpoint. And that's the America that we're finding ourselves in right now. And of course, it just seems to be getting worse. But now it looks like the right is starting to fight fire with fire. They're starting to take pages out of their playbook and they're starting to use their tactics against them. And that's what I'm showing here, because this is all over. Dude, there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these. I grabbed like 24 maybe. But the more I scrolled, the more I saw of these, like just more and more people that these, especially libs of TikTok and Cam Higbee and some of these other, you know, more prominent users, they're reposting this stuff all day long. Probably by the thousands at this point. I don't know if did I go over that one? DOJ employee mocks Charlie Kirk death, and libs of TikTok tagged AG Pam Bondi. And Terry Pinkham Vandermark, who self-identifies herself as a data analytics specialist at the DOJ since 2012, reportedly publicly mocks deceased Charlie Kirk on Facebook. And Pete Hegseth, can you please look into this? Here's an employee at the U.S. Department of War saying that Charlie Kirk got what he deserved. And there you go. All right, so libs of TikTok teacher at Naples CSD celebrates Charlie's assassination. Any comment? Naples CSD. Not sure where that's at, but yeah, he gave some long-winded using words like Nazi and things like that. Obviously brainwashed, just trapped in the matrix. Libs of TikTok, Stephen Knipp is the vice president of the Human Rights Commission for the city of Muncie, Indiana. He reportedly posted this celebrating Charlie's death in hopes for more assassinations. See, that's over the line. If you're calling for more, that's getting into legal trouble, at least as far as I'm concerned. So, all right. And from Scott Pressler, the persistence, meet Holly Rutherford. Quote, now it's time for Trump, Vance, and Mike Johnson to meet karma. If there is a good IR devil, show me by making it happen, end quote. One MAGA down, take them all down. This one is for the FBI. Well, Scott Pressler said that this one's for the FBI. Yeah, see, that's a call to action. Look, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a legal scholar, not a professional in the legal field. However, that to me sounds like it might be one step over the line. It is, societally speaking, and when you have different viewpoints, you got different viewpoints. Agree to disagree and just move on. But if you're calling for this shit, like I said, imagine the shoe on the other foot. Now, the leftists and Democrats, they refuse to view this situation that way, just like anything else. They refuse to imagine that the shoe being on the other foot, and if there were a bunch of conservatives and right-wingers that were cheerleading and praising the death of somebody that was prominent on the left, they refuse to see it that way. They just don't care. And frankly, a lot of them would probably say, well, the right wouldn't do that anyway, because the right, they don't have the guts. They don't have the guts to do that because they're too silent. They're not organized like we are. All right, Libs of TikTok breaking. PHNX Sports part ways with writer who wrote a whole thread mocking and justifying Charlie's murder. So it looks like they've let this person go. The opinions expressed by our employees do not represent the views of PHNX or All City Network. We take matters involving violence very seriously and are committed to ensuring that All City remains a safe place for our employees and community alike. We have addressed this matter with the individual and made the decision to part ways. And apparently it was the lead writer. Oh yeah, there's the distasteful comments. And another one. Breaking, Kelly Brock Sanchez, teacher at Ridgeview Elementary School in Lakeside, Florida, has been suspended following posts celebrating Charlie's murder. And Jennifer Bradley, or no, Kelly Brock Sanchez. All right. I don't know. Oh, okay, here we go. Jennifer Bradley, I contacted Superintendent Broski about the egregious behavior of a Clay teacher in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk shooting. This teacher has been immediately suspended and an investigation will follow. This type of hate has no place in our schools and around our children. Thank you, CCSB. Yeah. I mean, this leftist cult-like behavior, years ago, they've infiltrated the schools and they're teaching children, and that's part of the tactic. Because most of them, they either won't have kids because they don't want kids, or they can't have kids because they're in the LGBTQ community. So because they either won't or they can't have kids, instead they're going to go after yours instead. And they're doing it with public education. And how long has this been in play? I don't know, man. The Federal Department of Education was founded back in the 70s. Maybe this has been a long-term strategy from the left or from the, well, I don't even know what they were called back in the day, the communist faction of the Democratic Party. It's probably been something, the wheels have probably been in motion for quite some time. And it's getting pretty bad. It's not good. So here we go. Florida teacher suspended from Scott Pressler. Oh, same one. So an investigation will follow. She's the one who was hoping for an obituary. Yikes. And this is the last one I have from Scott Fowler. Breaking, the Carolina Panthers have fired Charlie Rock of the team's communications department for an insensitive post regarding the murder of Charlie Kirk. A source familiar with the organization's decision tells me. Story to come. So, and that's the last one that I have as far as the calls to violence, the celebration, the online partying following Charlie Kirk's assassination. I mean, it absolutely rocked the world. And they are in the minority, man. I would say that he was very well liked by a lot more who adored Charlie Kirk than those who didn't. At least I believe so. So let me see. I'm just going to see if there's anything over here. Let me just take a quick look. TMZ. Oh, yeah, that's right. I liked a bunch of those freaking comments. So let me just scroll past. That's all that TMZ stuff. I got like 10 people that replied to my post about that police chase. So I got a tendency of doing that. Whenever somebody leaves me a comment, I usually give it a like. So this is from Charlie Kirk back on September 29th of 2017. There is no First Amendment without the Second Amendment. And very common knowledge. Absolutely. And, yep, holding a USA AR-15. Those are cool. And let's see if I got anything else. So Liberty students gathered to pray for Charlie Kirk. No looting, no violence, no hate. Yet these are the people demonized by politicians and legacy media. Liberty students gathered to pray for Charlie Kirk's family and loved ones. Absolutely. Again, if this happened on the left, buildings would be on fire because that's just how they play. I mean, look what happened to George Floyd. And George Floyd wasn't even any political anybody. He was a nobody. Nobody knew who he was. And they freaking went absolutely ballistic. So yeah, if this situation would have happened on the left, they would have been burning down their own neighborhoods, their own cities. And we already know this because we've already seen it play out over and over and over again. That's what the left does. But when something happens to somebody who's on the right, this is basically what you get. You get people who are mourning and praying and coming together. Let's see if this will play. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. All right, I don't know. I doubt they're singing. Sounds like that's just something that they're playing. But they're just gathered in prayer at Liberty University. I mean, they could be singing, but it doesn't sound like that they are. But yeah, so that happened. Let's see. So this is in European Parliament. Dominic Tarzinski. I think I actually got that right. Tarzinski, MEP. As conservatives, we requested a minute of silence in the European Parliament to honor Charlie Kirk. The left, calling themselves Democrats, naturally refused. They are the same everywhere. Even in the face of death, they are incapable of showing human compassion. Therefore, I will organize an exhibition in the European Parliament commemorating Charlie Kirk. His legacy will bear fruit. I won't give it a play. It's a couple of minutes long. But yeah, it's on Dominic Tarzinski's page if you want to check it out. A leftist asshole rode through a Charlie Kirk vigil on scooter in front of the Idaho State Capitol yelling, "Fuck Charlie Kirk." He promptly got his ass beat. The people have had enough. Okay, it's 3.5 minutes. Not going to play it, but I would like to at least check this out a little bit. You know, like what little vengeance the right has mustered up to fight the left, you know? Yikes, man. All right, let's see if there's anything else. What an fucking idiot. What an asshole, man. All right, so the cops show up. Oh, that's the dude. Fucking asshole. Dude's getting in his face. Dude, what a coward, man. Whatever happened to free speech? Again, put the show on the other foot. You think that a conservative or a right-winger could like run through a crowd of leftists in a situation like that? Hell no. Dude would have been killed. Absolutely killed. And the police, if it was in a big city, which it probably would be, would just stand by and do nothing. Anyway, this is the man. Let's see. What is this? This is the man the liberal Democrats hated so much that they killed him. This is who Charlie Kirk was. God bless you, Charlie. And let's see. Thank you, God, for giving us Charlie Kirk. I guess we'll play this. I might actually finish up with that. Looks like Matt Walsh. He said he woke up even angrier. I want justice for Charlie. Everyone responsible. Everyone celebrating. Everyone who encouraged this or fomented it in any way. I want them all held to account. They want us dead. They're killing us. Now is not the time for kumbaya stuff. This is real. Anyway,
please
let's just
explain
watch
to
this.
everyone out here what Jesus stood for, and especially the qualities of love, how to love your neighbor even if they don't agree with you.
So what is your name again?
Talise.
Talise, that's a beautiful question. I'm glad you came up to ask it. So John 8, if I'm drawing from memory correctly, best embodies both Christ's mercy and love, but also his commitment to truth. And sometimes in the modern gospel, we overemphasize the grace and we underemphasize the truth.
Yeah.
And so we are far too willing to say, hey, Jesus loves everybody, but we don't get to the second part of the conversation that says Jesus doesn't want you to live in sin. So this is, in John 8, it's best embodied, right? Almost every Christian in this audience will be able to tell you the first part of this, which is a bunch of Sadducees and Pharisees who are standing around with rocks, and they're about to stone the prostitute woman. And Jesus comes up and says, let the first among you without sin cast the first stone. And everyone starts dropping the rocks. But what comes next shows that Christ is not just grace-focused, he's simultaneously truth-focused. He goes up to the woman who had a career in selling herself for sex and said, sin no more. Now, imagine today how much trouble you would get in if you would go up to somebody and say, stop sinning. Oh, you're being too judgmental. No, you're actually being Christ-like. So Jesus stood. He was 100% grace and truth. And that tension is very hard in a modern world because we want to overemphasize grace when in reality Christ loves us too much to have us continue to live in sin. He wants us to try to elevate our actions to glorify God in all that we do.
Wow, man. Yeah, Charlie's really going to be missed. Really going to be missed, man. We lost an icon. No doubt about that. So anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot to me if you do, and I'll drop a new show tomorrow. I'll try to cover some more swamp news and government-related news. I'm assuming that there's going to be more to talk about. In fact, if anything, it might actually be a really busy day. Typically, Friday really isn't, but I'll just have to wait and see. I have no idea. I have no idea what kind of news content's going to come out tomorrow as far as what the machine is up to, but I'll be looking out for it. And regardless, I'll put something together. I probably won't focus much on Charlie Kirk tomorrow unless like something major develops. I mean, I may start with if there's any updates or anything between now and tomorrow. You know, I'll probably do updates. Like if maybe if anybody prominent makes any important speeches, like maybe if Kash Patel gets in front of the cameras or something, I might play something like that. But other than that, I'll just look for more swamp news and I'll bring it to you tomorrow evening. So anyway, yep, I'm going to continue covering the politicians, bureaucrats, agencies, everything else. I also, most of the time, I'm not really consistent with it right now, but I'll try to be more consistent with posting daily episodes over on X. I'll usually just take this video and just link it over there. So if you want, you can feel free to comment over there if you prefer commenting on X as opposed to on YouTube. And thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your night, and God bless America.